You're watching TRTS Clips, a clip-sized content playlist that encloses experiences and stories of some of the most amazing, intellectually sound people from different walks of life. You enjoy this particular clip and don't forget to check out the entire playlist. If you like it, please support us by sharing it. Now, without further ado, the guest is all yours. When you say that patience is the most, it's not the underrated, but it's something which is not very much mentioned about. It's under
Mhm.
mentioned. And then you say that discipline is something which is very underrated. How do
Mhm.
you could you just break down this for our audience in a much simpler terms, like when you compare both of these, in what dimensions you are comparing them, or in what terms you are saying them that they're underrated and undermentioned?
Sure. So when I say, let's talk about patience, right? When I
Hmm.
say patience, I'll take an example of technology because I have real examples that I
Hmm.
can
Hmm.
talk to, right? So as an engineering manager, just in general in technology, the most difficult part of my role is probably having the ability to balance the speed of execution with
Hmm.
quality and technical debt. And
Hmm.
eventually what the goal is to build a product that would delight your users, right?
Hmm.
What happens is in software development, the hardest part is to convince your stakeholders that software takes the time it takes, and rushing it or putting more people on it is only going to make it slower and even maybe make it buggy. So
Hmm.
when I say it's under mentioned is because nobody talks about patience. Everybody knows patience is important once you get on the job, but when you
Hmm.
are interviewing or when you are talking to people about what this role entails, nobody will tell you, oh, patience is a virtue. I know you learn with experience. That's just how
Hmm.
general management skills are. But I think this is something which is important that should be mentioned to a lot of people who get into management early, because I
Hmm.
mean, not everybody has a lifetime to make all the mistakes, right? We learn from others'
Hmm.
mistakes. And if we make mistakes, it's on us to let people know. So I think that way it is very undermentioned. It's not underrated because you realize it once you are on the job
Hmm.
right away. Now, when I come to discipline, when I say discipline, it's not just discipline in terms of how you run a tight ship and do everything in a timely fashion. Well, that's your management skill. But when I say discipline, I'm talking about your own discipline. How you organize things, like organizational skills for a manager are not limited to your organization of the project. It's just how you organize your entire day. Something as basic as how up to date your calendar is, something as
Hmm.
basic as how many overlapping meetings do you actually have and how many of them do you actually avoid.
Hmm.
These
Hmm.
things don't seem to be rated very high, but I can give you like real examples that I know. There were a couple of overlapping meetings we had. Obviously you have to choose one, right? You
Hmm.
give importance to one over the other. You say this is higher priority at this point, that was higher priority at that point. But what happened was the meeting that was missed by the manager came to bite him back 3 months later, because something happened in that meeting which again was underrated, saying that okay, this is not that important, so it just went under the cover somewhere. You
Hmm.
can point out to a lot of other mistakes, that communication should have been better, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's true, but all of this could have been avoided if there wasn't an overlapping meeting. I know you cannot always avoid it, but the
Hmm.
basic discipline of having, say, something like calendars updated, trying to find a happy space between, say, oh, this meeting, instead of being an hour meeting, maybe can you make it like 45 minutes, something like that, right? Getting
Hmm.
to the crux of things. So that way I reflect to discipline. There are a lot of other aspects to discipline, but I don't want to go too long on that.